noisy water line. Headlights, I've been with midnight through the city. I've been going through some things, trying to get my mind right. Push the bucket to the lip, push that bitch into the finish. Gotta get the full control, gotta get my mind right. Headlights, I've been with midnight through the city. I've been going through some things, trying to get my mind right. Push the bucket to the lip, push that bitch into the finish. Gotta get the full control, gotta get my mind right. Flashing on these high beats, you won't stay beside me, even if I'm blinded.
And welcome everybody. Yeah, we got Fours back now. Fours back.
Yes.
So now my video looks good. What's going on, everybody? Victory Monday. How y'all doing in the building?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Man, happy Victory Monday, man. Feeling good.
Yes, sir. We got my guy Jay Tuck, Space Cowboy. Got my guy Joe Rod in the building. Got the hat on today. And my guy E2 Blue. What's going on with y'all, man?
What it do?
What's up, everybody?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Nothing like victory around here, man.
Yeah, you mean other people from other teams, trying to rain on our parade a little bit. That's what you're talking about.
And I watched your hometown team win a fucking pennant, so that's not my business.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah.
They're trying to downgrade our win. Like I've been telling everybody on my channel, like don't let nobody steal your joy. What we saw yesterday, even though it was a little rocky, you got to be excited about what you saw. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like our offense is going to play a lot better moving forward. So, Victory Monday.
Exactly, man. The thing that I like to try and do, man, when we start these shows is go off of pros and cons. And I had my guy E2 Blue in the building in a minute, so I'll start with E2, man. What were your pros from yesterday's victory, man?
Like we talked about yesterday on my channel, the pros was Dak's rust wasn't elongated, meaning he didn't ruin the game by being rusty. I tell people all the time, when you come back from playing, whether it's the whole season or a couple of games, you have to get used to the speed of the game, no matter how long you've been playing. So, there's always going to be rust coming off. So he knocked that rust off in the beginning. We had a couple of 3-and-outs. It's all good, though, because he came back, was throwing the ball, and was feeling good towards the end of the game. And he has no long-term effects on that thumb. He says his thumb feels good, so those are the pros with that. Also, too, you look on the defensive side of the ball, 5 turnovers, dude. His defense is balling.
Yes, sir. My guy Joe Rod. Yo, we've been trying to do a show together for so long. Glad you could drop by, man. What were your pros from the game yesterday?
Pros were the halftime adjustments. McCarthy says they're a third quarter team, and they continue to do that, right? So thank God for that. You know what I mean? Cons, I need 4 quarters of football, not one crappy half and then one badass half. Give me a full 4 quarters, man.
I'll tell you, we're talking about cons. I'll tell you my con. I feel like sometimes we don't play physical enough. You look at that 49ers game when we had in the playoffs, man, they were so physical, and we were just getting treated like the redheaded stepchild. So we cannot, we can no longer do that, bro. We got to come physical every week.
All right, Jay Tuck, man, what was your pros from yesterday?
Yeah, I think the main pro, like everyone said, is this defense. And I feel like we got a defense we really can lean on going into this season and also into January. And Dak even kind of said it himself, like, hey, he didn't know how good this defense really was, that, he ain't got to be so aggressive, because all you got to do is maintain and let them kind of do their thing. So it's exciting to see, man, and especially from Micah Parsons, because like I said, that play when he stopped on that screen at the 1-yard line, like, that was just purely effort and not giving up on the play. Because like I said in my video, there were some people loafing, you know what I'm saying? And Micah just said, nah, bro, it's not over yet. And you see how it changed the course of the game. The kind of to piggyback off of what E2 just said, man, the physicality. And I think that, seeing Kellen Moore kind of switch away from it. The past few weeks, we were kind of physical at the line of scrimmage, getting the run game involved. And we just started getting cute again. Kellen Moore was itching. And then there's the reverse. There's, all those things we thought we got away from. So that was one of my biggest cons, is that I feel like Kellen Moore kind of softened up their approach a little bit, wanted to open up things, and he's back to his usual self. So, but the pros is definitely the Dallas Cowboys defense by far.
All right, and last but not least, my guy Space, man. What were your pros and your cons from yesterday?
I would say my pros are you got Dak back, and this is the first time all season you've scored 3 touchdowns in a game. I understand it happened late in the game, but the main factor is you got in the end zone, and that's going to be important. And obviously, he did have Russ to start the game, but you know what? Like, aside from like 1 or 2 throws, he met my expectations for what I expected him to do when he came back. And honestly, I think that, that's important because the sooner he gets this rust off, because I know we got Chicago and how you feeling them, but it's really, you got that bye week. So you want him to get some reps before the bye week because then you have a big game going on the road to Green Bay after that. So there's that. I would say a big con for me, at least, and I'm kind of starting to see it. Tyler Smith, man, I'm not sure what's going on here, and I'm not sure if I'm just seeing things, but for some reason he's not like he's got the. It's like he's starting to struggle, but like on paper, like you would say, well, he didn't let up so many sacks, right? But now you're starting to see the stats of his pass block win rate, like it's real bad, and that kind of worries me moving forward. And I understand he's a rookie, so I'm not like mad at that. It's just something to keep an eye out on. And I think that that's really what was bothering me. Like we were just getting beat the hell out of by that Detroit defensive line early on. And then we kind of started opening things up. Another con would be the run defense. I know some people are like, don't worry about it, but it's how they're running on you that scares me because, it's one thing when you're running up the middle, but when you're running to the outside and your linebackers aren't doing their job, of course you're going to struggle. So I would say that this stuff you can easily fix. But like Joe Rod said, they did a fantastic job in the second half, and how they're adjusting is something we're not used to. But I definitely think that you got yourself another tune-up game versus Chicago. I hate to put it that way, but it's the truth. I said you were going to struggle versus Detroit early on because historically they do. So I think you'll be good next game, and then you just go from there.
Yeah, I think my biggest pro was the fact that we got a game under our belt with Dak, and we got a win because it's been a long time since we got a win with Dak Prescott under the helm. Not to say that it's been completely Dak's fault, but it feels good to finally get that monkey back off your back because it's been such a long time. You think about the last 2 times before that, San Francisco and Tampa Bay. So we had to just get on the board. You know what I'm saying? You got to start somewhere. You got to crawl before you walk. It was good to see him get some snaps in there. Started off a little rusty, and then he was able to kind of, pick things up. Turnovers, it seemed like, it was far in between us getting turnovers from last year's team. Last year's team, it just seemed like turnovers just fell out of trees. And this year has been a lot tougher for us to really get them. And, we got them in bunches yesterday. So that was good to see that we can do that again. I would say cons really script. Us having an offensive script, Kellen Moore script, and defending the other team's script. It just seems like we don't have anything easy on our side. Like we can't just design anything based off of what tendencies the other teams do that they show on film. Like we just can't go out there and take advantage of those things early and often. And on defense, it seems like we give up a lot of yards early. We give up confidence early. We eventually adjust, and we adjust on both sides. But I'd like to see us, kind of go into weeks a little bit more prepared than we really are. And that's been a problem. That was a problem in the Philadelphia game. That was a problem in the Tampa Bay game. And I'm hoping that that's not a pattern where when we play good teams and they're a lot more prepared than we are, we're playing catch up. So I would hate to be in that situation, and we got it done yesterday, but in Chicago we'll probably get it done again because I mean you don't want to look past opponents, but I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't see too much that Chicago really has for us from a quarterbacking standpoint, from a team standpoint. I just think that we're a better team, and it's going to be. I mean, it'll be as tough as we want it to be. You know what I'm saying? Like. And I mean, we can talk about coordinators a little bit, and I'll start with Joe Rod, man. Like, how do you feel about Kellen's game yesterday?
It had its moments, but I think we're kind of used to Kellen Moore game plan. You know what I mean? Sometimes, obviously, when we lose, it looks way, way worse. But when we win, we kind of, it was okay. But so some of the play calls that are kind of like signature play calls, like the reverse, the quick out, some of this crap that gets you like 1 yard or so. I hate it, man. Like that reverse or the sweep. It feels like the guy's like 20 yards back here, looping around.
Right.
Like, why so far back, bro? You know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna get any. It's like, I don't know, man. I hate that design play, bro. I don't like that one.
I mean, feel free to chime in, anybody, man. Feel free to chime in on how you think Kellen really did yesterday, as far as getting Dak acclimated to.
So from my take, and I think you and I talked about this yesterday, DMV. And Joe, you just basically said it too. Like, I'm tired of seeing these stupid little end arounds, the CD Lamb to go to nowhere. Don't get that's your number one wide receiver right now, right? So why are you getting him crushed for no reason?
Yeah.
Why are we being cute? We've been running the ball straight at them all game, every game, and then you do that. This is not Boise State. This ain't college. That shit doesn't work in the NFL. You got to stop doing that. Like, other teams looking at it like, did these fools really just try to pull this off?
It worked on us. It worked on us earlier.
But you could tell that, like, when they called that timeout, you could tell Mike McCarthy. He's like, come here,
we're down.
Come here, bro. Don't do that shit. Don't do that no more. Don't do that no more.
Stop doing that fucking shit.
Exactly, space. Exactly, space. That's what.
Dude, I swear to God, like, oh my God.
You said, field goal. F that, bro. Like, nah.
Right. He's like, we're not doing this because I know what you about to do. You about to get trigger happy. You about to do that bullshit. Come here. Look, it's like those memes. It's like those memes and those gifs that be like, don't come in with that crazy shit, and then it be that motherfucker looking crazy. Don't come in with that crazy shit.
but I'll say this, man. It's like we all kind of played the game before, and it's like we want to put the ownership on Kellen, but I gotta kind of put on the offense. Like, when you're in the huddle and you hear this play call, don't nobody step up and say, "Bro, we're not running that." Like, don't nobody say, Zach Martin, because Zach Martin had his
Zach tried. He tried.
You would think like someone would be like, man, nah, we're not running that reverse. But it's just Kellen being cute, and it's just like the lack of continuity with their offensive lines. But I don't like personally. I hate the substitution at left guard. Like, you need to figure out if it's going to be McGovern or Peters, whoever it's going to be. Go with it and stick with it. We are not the Dallas Mavericks. We can, have McGovern in for the first 5 plays and then sub him out and put Peters back in. And have it's just a lack of continuity to the offensive line. So there's a lot of things the Cowboys have to figure out offensively. And I think one of the main things we really have to talk about is Michael Gallup really healthy? He's out there, but is he really healthy, man? Because he was pretty much a no-show the past few weeks. If you go back and watch pretty much yesterday, he was just a guy out there. So if he's not fully capable of being the Michael Gallup that we're used to, we probably need to go make a move before the trade deadline, which I highly doubt we're going to do.
Tuck, I'm glad you pointed that out, because I was thinking that yesterday, because I got Michael Gallup in fantasy and I started him because I was thinking, okay, well, Dak's back, so Gallup is his guy. You could tell he got a little hitch in his step, man. It's definitely a setback. I don't know if it's a mental thing or if it's actually a physical thing, but I think it might be a little bit mental, because if you look at him, he comes out of his break slow.
Right. Yeah.
And he doesn't have that same burst that he normally does.
And there was one play I vividly remember. It was one-on-one coverage, and the safety was nowhere over the top on that side. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is easy money for Gallup. And Dak didn't even look that way at all. So it's just like, it's kind of unusual. I know he kind of had to drop, it could have been on Dak, could have been on Gallup, a little bit of both. But, he wasn't really involved yesterday. And if he's not full go, we need another wide receiver to really step up. And I just don't think Noah Brown is the guy. He's a guy. But, I highly doubt the Cowboys are going to make that move because, James Washington's going to take him a while to get revved up. They did have Tolbert active, but he wouldn't play. And, of course, they don't know how to use Kevontae Turpin to save their life. So, as soon as he came in, Turpin came in, he got the ball. That was it. Little lucky whitehead's what I've been calling them. So it's just it's
and I just don't know because, Kellen, I don't know what the hell like. I swear to God, this man is going to like make me have a brain aneurysm. Like, oh my God! Like every time I watch I'm like, why are we making this so goddamn difficult for
Right.
ourselves? And it's just like for me, I don't mind doing trick plays. Like I'm not anti trick plays. My problem is when you do it in the script, that tells me you don't have anything for the rest of the game, and that scares me because I'm like, dude, why are we running a reverse? And you can see, like, I see it coming from a mile away. It's not even creative. It's just
Right.
It
like
looks forced. It looks forced.
it's like because it's like he's looking at his play sheet. He's like, I didn't call this play. Let me call this
Right.
because he has this arrogance to him, and I get
It's
it.
cute.
You're offensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys. You're the hot shot wonder kid that can do it. No, I don't really care. We have a formula that it's working, and I think that you should stick with that, right? And the other thing you mentioned, Galvin, that's a huge point. I think the problem is going to be, and this is something they need to figure this out, preferably in Chicago, or if Green Bay really is that good. But again, I'm not discounting anybody at this point. They need to figure out how they're going to run this offense moving forward. And I said that's going to be the number one question for the Cowboys October, November, because you got to keep pace, number one. But number two, like you kind of see it, right? Your defense is doing its job. No question. Like, you got a good defense. It's a matter of what can you do offensively at the end of the day consistently that's going to win you games. And you kind of saw it like, okay, we're going to run the ball and then we're going to pass here and there. But the thing that bothered me the most about last game or this game, Detroit was trying to stop the run. Like they were selling to stop the run and you weren't really going to play action a whole lot.
Right.
You should be.
First play you did, it was wide open, then they got away from it.
Right. I'm like, what the hell are we doing here?
Yeah,
and it's
we
like,
scrap it because it got dropped, or it was, a little bit of, I don't know, it was wide open.
But I'm not upset though. I think that then again, I'm looking at down the road. I know I don't really like doing that, but at the end of the day, I see what this team is. I know what you have here. My main question is does this keep up for the remainder? Because at the end of the day, dude, like who knows what this division's going to look like come December? Like we could end up seeing all four of these teams make the postseason. We could. So
yeah, and I think you guys brought up Gallup, but another guy that I felt was he just ain't ready, in my opinion, is Schultz. I think Schultz is galloping around. I think these young boys are putting pressure on, but I don't know if it's the young boys putting pressure on or if it's the front office. Like maybe they're throwing Gallup and Schultz out there because they're the money guys. And Anthony Dorsett Jr. Came on here and said that before. Like a lot of times you making the money, they'll throw your ass out there and you just ain't ready. You know what I'm saying? It looks forced. It looks forced from Schultz. It looks forced from Gallup.
Schultz was like, look here, Cooper ain't giving me the ball, but Dak's my guy. Soon as Dak comes back, all of a sudden his PCL don't hurt no more. Come on,
right.
In the blocking game, it kind of hurt us that he had so many of those reps. Those young guys in that 12 personnel, they're blocking their ass off and they're good for us in the play action game. I think
Dak's first touchdown was the Henner shot. Schultz was probably like, God.
Schultz was like, fuck. It was just like,
that was supposed to be mine. Son of a.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think we do know what we are. One of you guys, I think it was one of you guys who put it up today about Zeke. People thinking Zeke is washed. Honestly, I thought he's put together a couple of, like the last couple of games. The stats won't really show how well he's really been playing over the last couple of games. The Rams game in particular, I thought that the stats wouldn't show it, but he really gashed them and punched them all up in the gut. Yesterday, I think he opened it up for Pollard to kind of come up there, who actually ran a little bit harder yesterday than we've been seeing him.
Right.
Pollard.
They gotta.
Go ahead.
They gotta stop.
Oh, my bad.
Go ahead, Space.
No,
go ahead. No, you're good.
Oh, and I was saying, they got to stop disrespecting Zeke, man. You can't expect a guy to run the same way that he ran 7 years ago. People don't. Those are people that don't understand football.
Right.
When you're a running back, you get hit every fucking day. First of all, playing football is like getting into a car accident every week. Those of you that play football like I did understand that shit hurts. After 7 years, you're not going to run the same way. There's no way. But the fact that Zeke is our bell cow, he does stuff that Tony Pollard can't do. And being a running back is not just running the ball. You have to pass protect too. That is one of the most important things that you can do. And Zeke is very good at that. And in the fact that he's giving you those yards, he makes a negative yard into 2 yards, into 3 yards. Because I don't know about you, but I'd rather 3rd and 6 than 3rd and 13.
Right.
Yeah, and I think a big thing too is that I get it. The contract is the biggest elephant in the room. And I've gone on record and I've said odds are they're going to meet with Zeke and be like, listen, your cap hit is insane. Can you do what D-Law did? Can we redo your deal so you have a lower cap hit? I don't see him playing anywhere else, to be honest with you. It's either he's staying here for his whole career or he'll retire. Like, dude, listen, we all know what he wants to do. He said it. Hey, I want to get to 10,000 rushing yards, make the Hall of Fame. Cool. That's great. Now, the thing is, and I like the Cowboys' approach here because ultimately you're keeping him fresh and you're using him effectively because there are moments where it's like, okay, we're running Zeke into a pile, but he'll get some yards. Cool. I think that you saw moments where it's like, okay, the option play, him hurdling the defender. It's like, yo, like he's still here. You're not seeing the volume of carries. Like the dude's got 4 touchdowns and 400 yards through 7 games now. And it's like, you got to know the dynamic here in Dallas in order to fully have a conversation about Zeke. We know what he's going to do.
And people don't understand, like, if you go back and look, even last year, right, his magic volume number was 20 carries. Like, when he gets 20 carries, he's pretty much going to get you 100. But it's just not, like you said, Space, the dynamic has changed because you do have Tony Pollard. Now, I think this might be the last year of Ezekiel Elliott in Dallas, like you said, unless he's going to just take a pay cut. But he brings us so much. And like I've always been saying, it needs to be like, all right, you got Tony Pollard. He's your guy that can kind of break the game. And then the fourth quarter, when it's trying to get up out there with the victory, you bring in your closer, and that's Ezekiel Elliott. So in the red zone, closing time. And I think that's really going to prolong Zeke's career. But he's got to use him properly. Like, it's 3rd and 2. Stop being so damn creative, Kelly. Just give Zeke the ball. Put him back at fullback like you did in the red zone. He'll get you 1 or 2 yards. Like, he's almost averaging 4 yards a clip. So just simple mathematics, give him the ball. But, we got to overcomplicate things. But I love what I've seen from Zeke and Pollard because without those two, we might not be here right now. We might be doing the mock draft.
Agree, Tuck. That's the key right there. That's the key. You said it.
Yeah, Gerard, you ready to jump in on something?
Yeah,
right?
man. I actually Pollard is one of my bye week specials. Like, the Cowboys, they used to do deals during the bye week, right? They haven't done so much here in recent years. Pollard is like my number one guy. Like, if you're going to extend somebody here before the end of the season, I wouldn't mind it being Pollard. You know what I mean? I think you can get him at an affordable rate. You know what I mean? But we don't know. Maybe Pollard's like, hey, I'm going to see what I can get out here. Because, I mean, can you imagine Pollard like in San Francisco or Miami or somewhere? They will utilize him and he'll be a star.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Let me ask you this,
I would
Joe.
love to see him here. I think you got to at least keep one of these guys here for next season, whether it's Pollard or Zeke. I think you got to have at least one of them. So at this point,
I've been peeking at some mocks, man, kind of doing a few, man. This is running back from Texas that keeps falling.
there's good running backs in this class.
Let me ask you guys a question. I'm looking at the market value for Tony. Would you pay Tony $5 million a year?
Oh yeah. Easy.
Okay. Because that's what his projected market value is. And I think that I'm okay with that. I'm not a fan of paying running backs, but
you mean from the Cowboys standpoint?
Huh?
I feel like that's gonna be. I feel like that market value is way too low for Tony Pollard, to be honest.
I personally think it's low.
Yeah,
but I think the problem is it's looking at other running backs his age and the deals they've signed, and that's where they're getting that projected market value. I think I could see him making 6 or 7. Like I said, I'm not a fan of paying running backs unless like it makes sense for your team dynamic. So like if you're gonna pay him, you better use him.
Right.
Like I'm like I don't want you paying like $20 million to your running backs and you're literally not going to use them. So,
but they've been working. Collectively, they've been worth every penny this year.
Absolutely.
I mean, because I forget which one of you guys said it. Without them, we're definitely not in this position. They definitely kept a lot of pressure off of Cooper Rush when he was in there, and yesterday, and they're going to keep some pressure off of Dak Prescott. Until he's able to really become himself, which is a good thing. It's a formula that works. It also protects our defense as well. So I mean, personally, I think if I do have to give Kellen credit for something this year, I think that he's gotten better at figuring out when to use them, when to stick with the hot hand. We don't necessarily force, hey, let's get Zeke going first. Yesterday, it was let's get Tony going first, and then Zeke started getting going. And, they had no problem with keeping Tony in there when he was hot early. So I think that was a good thing that they did yesterday, opposed to what we had been doing in the past years. So
really just need to use them at the same damn time. And you see glimpses of it, and I love it because you really have to treat Tony Pollard as a wide receiver threat as well. So I would take Tony Pollard matched up on a linebacker, and you'll see glimpses of it, and then Kellen just, go through his cue, like, all right, that's the one and done. We're done. That was it. You know what I'm saying? So,
but it's a money thing. I feel like they feel like we're paying Schultz, so we gotta get Schultz involved. I feel like
same thing.
We're paying Gallup, so even though he's out there hurt, we got to try and get him involved, or we got to have him out there and he's got to play. And in turn, one of them's off the field. You know what I'm saying? In that situation. So let's flip over to the defensive side of the ball, because somebody talked about it earlier. I think it was Space where he talked about the linebacker play. How do you guys feel about LVE right now as it stands?
I'll go first on that since I mentioned the linebacker play. I think LVE, again, expectations and it depends on how you perceived him going into the season. I felt, okay, this guy's fringe starter, backup play, and let's just see what happens. He's been okay for all things considered, but the problem is he's still having these moments where I'm like, dude, what the hell are you doing? There are moments where he's getting beat, or if something's not and I'm not trying to fully blame him for the run defense, because clearly if your front four isn't doing their job, your linebackers are going to sometimes struggle. But again, even in instances Barr has been irritating me sometimes with how he's been playing. LVE, it's just the reason why it annoys me is because you have guys like Jabril Cox on the bench. I know Damone Clark, they're still deciding on whether they're going to bring him back, which I honestly don't care. Just make sure you're not rushing the dude back from an injury. But it's just right. I feel like the problem is you have these older guys that are not as athletic. When your defense is trying to play with speed, you need these younger guys with fresher legs, unless you're like Micah Parsons, where you're just this freak of nature that could just run all over the field. You're going to need these younger guys to step up. Barr is just, I feel like a placeholder at this point. Is he playing like shit? No, but he's I feel like Cox could do better out there, honest to God. So maybe I'm just being too hype on Jabril Cox. It's just I've seen what he can bring to the table with his speed, but I don't know why the Cowboys aren't just playing him. There has to be something going on. So,
go ahead. This is my take on the linebacker core. So I look at it like this: we know Micah Parsons is the guy, right? He's all over the place. You get I know you said you had issues with Anthony Barr. I don't necessarily have an issue with Anthony Barr for this very reason. If you remember when he was with the Vikings, they used him primarily as a pass rusher. That's what he went to the Pro Bowl for. Here, he's in coverage. That's not what he normally plays. So coming here, he had to shift from being a traditional pass rusher to now being a coverage linebacker, which was different for him. Remember, he got here halfway through training camp, so he had to learn the system, get the chemistry with the guys. But I think he's playing all right, considering the fact that that's due to him. And because he is older, you're not going to expect him to be running around like a madman, because that's just not what they do. LVE, my issue with him is he tackles too high. DMV said it himself. He tackles like he's wrestling bears and shit. So I mean, that's my issue with him. Sometimes he takes bad angles, but there's also times when you see LVE that's the LVE that I need to see. So he's he's there and he's not. He's very inconsistent with it. Now, the whole Jabril Cox thing with him is, I believe that he had a setback with his injury. Not anything to put on the injury report, but a setback in the way of they're like, okay, well, we got to calm him down. Because remember, when in training camp, he went hard. Mm-hmm. And, coming back off of that injury, he came back, too fast. So that's why they've been primarily using him on special teams and just making him inactive. And with Damone Clark, just keep sitting him until next year. Just allow him just to rest up, keep redshirting him, and let him come back next year strong. Because, look, Anthony Barr's only got a 1-year contract, so he'll end up playing next year anyway. So,
Well,
Yeah,
I'll ask this
right.
question real fast. My bad, Tuck. Let me. Oh, well, now you go. You go ahead because I have a question. Go ahead.
Not. I was going to say when it comes to the linebacker core, I think this is the biggest liability right now when it comes to our defense. And me personally, I think we're kind of clustered right now at the defensive end spot. So what I've been proposing is like, listen, y'all can really give Sam Williams more reps because we saw what he did with just 12 on Sunday.
That was my question.
And move Micah back to his natural position and still have him blitz in the A gap, B gap. You can still move him around in certain instances. But I just feel like when you look at Anthony Barr and also LVE, they are the veteran mental guys, but their athleticism doesn't add up. And it's kind of like what we went through last year with Jalen Smith. It's like, all right, I know you're the veteran guy, you can digest, but you just can't get there. And I feel like if you add Brillo Cox or even just put Micah back there, even if Micah isn't fully digesting right now at the linebacker position, he can scrape, he can make things happen, and it just speeds up your defense overall. But I feel like as of right now, especially in pass coverage, like if I see Anthony Barr lined up on anybody out there, I'm taking that shot because he's just running with concrete shoes. So I would consider maybe just having Sam Williams be your other edge rusher, and then because he can stand up, play 3-tech, play outside as well, but then maybe putting Micah back to full-time linebacker. That's kind of my proposal.
Yeah, I actually was going to ask the question if Sam Williams emerging, because for me, I kind of saw him really catching up to game speed around November, but is that the answer moving forward? Or do you guys think that we need to go ahead and try and make a deal to possibly bring in another linebacker or pass rusher?
I look at it like this.
That's real
His
good.
defense is predicated on being a bend don't break defense. And again, no defense is perfect. Every defense has its weak spots, right? This is the NFL. No matter what you do, there's going to be offenses that's going to scheme to whatever you do. You just have to just keep adjusting to what it is. Now, you see their teams run on us a little bit, but they're not scoring, right? So that's that bend don't break thing. So I'll take that, but then when we get to the goal line, we're stopping these guys and we're keeping them out of the end zone. As long as our offense is not making our defense tired, that's when teams are scoring on us, when our defense is out there too long. But if our offense is holding up and doing what they do, our defense is going to do what they do. Yeah, you're going to have some guys run on you, but that's that bend don't break thing. And I think with this year, it's not really much you can do about that. I mean, you got Bohanna. I mean, Neville Gallimore, he's been hurt, but you know what I'm saying? But you got guys doing their thing. And like you said with Sam Williams, I'm loving what he's doing. But if we try that, let's try it. Let's see if we could put Micah Parsons back in linebacker for a game and see what Sam Williams could do. If it don't work, then go back to what you were doing before. But it's just that Micah just has to understand that you can't do it all by yourself, bro. And because he's just one guy, and he's killing himself out there. To be honest with you.
Because I feel
Go
like
ahead, jump in, Joe Rod. I know you're about to say something.
Sam and Micah is at the 2 tight end sets. Like they're chipping on him a lot. But Sam is more built from because Sam is a big boy, man. So
He sure is.
Yeah, he is. Did you see him snatch that ball out of his hand? Like, give me that damn.
Yeah, man. I think I think this is all kind of a long roadmap myself. You know what I mean? You have a lot of young they're throwing a lot of draft capital at the position. If you think about it, going back to Jalen, LVE, Jabril, Damone. But I think next year's when we're really going to see these guys really shine. I think right now we're just kind of going through the motions. But I mean, the guys are holding up. I don't really have a problem with OV. Like, I don't think he's trash or anything like that. I don't think he's a big liability, nothing like that. But I think they could still probably add another guy because I think at some point when the money for Micah comes, he's gonna want DE money. He's gonna want linebacker money.
He's gonna go fund me right now for that, man.
They're gonna have there's gonna be an issue down the line here as far as we don't want to pay him DE. We want to pay him
linebacker. Stephen Jones. He's a linebacker.
Right. At the end of the day, only so much pie to go around.
They not letting Micah go. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Yeah, no, they won't let him go. But that's gonna be one of those battles right behind the scenes. But mentioning Jabril Cox, I think he probably did have some kind of setback, or the injury was a little bit more, deeper than what it is. The Cowboys like to hide these types of things, right? So that doesn't surprise me. But if that is the case, and maybe Damone is legit ready to come back, maybe they switch him out. Maybe Damone's activated and Jabril just let them get better. But I think we're going to find out here. They gotta make a decision on Damone, I think, sometime this week. So we'll see,
Yeah,
man.
because they've been sitting all the young guys. You look at because we forgot about Devin Harper. Both
Right.
Devin Harper and Jabril Cox were inactive this game. So
That's
and
right.
they've been
Yeah, forgot
primarily
about
playing
Devin.
special team. Yeah, forgot about Devin Harper. So like you said, Joe, I think next year when it's their time, it's going to be their time. We just got to be patient, man. And I'm not really stressing too much about this defense right now. We're winning. We're doing what we need to do. But as a fan base, that's what you want. You want to see the
Right.
young guys, right? You want to see the
Mhm.
speed. Like we all want to do that, but like
Yeah.
we gotta keep it real. Like what I'm saying. Let it just. It's gonna come. We just because if you rush it too much, and you're gonna have another Jalen Smith.
Yeah.
And you don't want that.
Yeah.
Let
Don't
these
want
guys
that.
heal up and get right, man.
Yeah, and it seems like injuries have forced us to really actually play these young guys. And another young guy that has to go out there because of injury now is going to be Deron Bland.
Oh, he's gonna be all right.
It's actually funny because we were just like, Jordan Lewis, is he gonna make a play? And he goes out and makes a pick, and then he gets hurt. And it's like,
Right.
oh well, damn. You know what I'm saying? But Deron Bland is definitely probably gonna get some snaps moving forward. How do you guys feel about Deron Bland having to fill in for Jordan Lewis coming in?
Well, Mike McCarthy came out and spoke today. He said not just Deron Bland, he mentioned Kelvin Joseph and Nashawn Wright. So I'm not sure what that really means, but I think that they're viewing that Deron Bland's going to be your inside guy, your Jordan Lewis replacement. And a lot of Cowboys fans, self-included, excited to see what this kid can do, especially coming off what he did and also preseason, and then what he did. I forgot what game that was when he got the interception. Was that
I think the Commanders game.
the Commanders?
No,
Yeah.
he got it. Wasn't was it?
No, it was
Yeah,
the
it was.
Commanders game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah, versus the Commanders. So I know a lot of people are interested because from his playmaking ability. So he's going to get his opportunity, and whoever that guy's going to be, like Jordan Lewis is out for the season, so that's going to be our guy moving forward. So someone has to really emerge. I think Bland's going to get the initial call, but they might consider Kelvin Joseph a little bit. I think Nashawn Wright's too far down the depth chart, though, to be honest with you. But
Yeah, and it ain't gonna be no damn Kelvin Joseph. Let me tell you something. That slot corner position is a hard position to play.
right,
You got to be a certain type of dog to play that position. And I need people to give Jordan Lewis his respect because he's been solid there. You know what I'm saying? You're not always gonna make plays in the slot corner position. That's just the way the position is made. You know what I mean? Like that interception that Bland got, that was good sight on him. Catching that thing up the middle and seeing the eyes of the quarterback and that ball being short. Um, Now, when you look at that position, I think that Bland's gonna be all right because he's a little bigger and a little more physical than Jordan Lewis is. But I think he'll be fine there. It's just he's already had a taste of it, so he knows what he's doing. I got the confidence that he's gonna be all right, especially with the help of the rest of the corners, and then you got your safeties coming up too with cursing them. So.
Yeah, I think the Kelvin Joseph thing was around the idea of what if they move Anthony Brown back inside and then shift one of the guys back outside. But I just don't. That's just too much
I wouldn't
movement.
do it.
Yeah, it's just too much.
Yeah,
movement.
it's too much
Yeah.
room.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Deron Bland's going to be outstanding. Honestly, I think that he's going to hit the ground running. Everything that you saw in camp, preseason, it's like, man, this guy is going to be badass. And like you said, ET Blue, he's you gotta have a certain kind of dog right there, and I think he's perfect for that. He'll if the player catches the ball, he's right there in the hip pocket. He's pretty sound tackler, so I think he's a perfect fit there, man. I cannot wait to see what he does here, in these next couple of games.
Yeah, I really like Jordan Lewis, and I think that, and I say this with all due respect, I think him getting hurt sucks because if Bland plays as well as I think he can play, the Cowboys might be like, do we want to pay you $5 million next year? Which, again, I don't care. I like Jordan Lewis. I think he's done a great job with what I've seen him do. But I think that how the Cowboys roll with Stephen Jones, anywhere to nickel and dime people, man. So I'm just keeping that on the lookout because, listen, if they're going to find a way to save money, but that's just the nature of the business, and that would suck because, Lewis has been a fantastic piece for this defense. And the fact that we're even having a conversation about this just shows you how well we've come a long way with this defense, because I think I said it like 3 years ago. It's going to take a while to get this thing back up to form or to make it look respectable. Now this thing's looking like top 3, arguably best defense in the league. And the fact that we can have a top discussion about, hey, one of your better players got hurt in Jordan Lewis, and you have a rookie coming in doing just as good of a job, possibly better, depending on how well he gets with the game reps. That's impressive. And that's what I think is the image that Stephen Jones wants to be like, well, at the end of the day, we draft our own, whatever the fuck he says. But however, I still feel in my heart of heart that if you really want to push the chips all in on your defense, I think you go get a piece. I'm not saying Robert Quinn. I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at getting like a legit linebacker.
Oh, I miss Robert Quinn.
I do too, but it's just crazy because after that first year in Chicago, I was like, but he's been doing pretty good. And I'm looking at, Roquan. So the price tag's going to be high. I get it. But my thing is like, I could give a shit less. You got to hit this. You got to hit the window, man. Because a lot of the times, and I'll say this here to kind of end this. The problem I have is Stephen Jones said during the playoff run last year, oh, we can't afford to get a guy because, draft capital support, or whatever the hell he said. But then not even before the season begins, he says, oh, you go get a guy like Von Miller for a playoff run. So what the hell is it?
Right.
You literally just got caught BSing people. And I know that we've seen him BS, but like it's within this time frame. Yeah. Like, dude, go put your money where your mouth is. You need to add a piece on this defense to really solidify. It's not like it's the end of the world if they don't do it, but I feel like if you really want, push the envelope, go get somebody.
See, I think I'm the opposite space. If I'm going to make a power move, I'm going offensively with the power move. I feel like our defense is more.
I agree. I agree with you there. I'm just saying if you want to do a power move, you know what I mean?
There needs to be a power move done, right? Because you have the defense already set, and like it's not a mirage, right? We're 7 weeks going to week 8 with this defense. Like we know what it is. Like we played Tom Brady, Matt Stafford, Jalen Hurts. Like we've played a lot of elite quarterbacks in that standpoint, and we've been playing well. But now it's like, all right. You got this defense. You got Dak back. You got your quarterback. All right. We just need because I just think our offense it still looks funny in the light. It just looks
because you should have never gotten rid of Amari Cooper.
Don't remind me, dude. Do not
like that. Like literally, that's the fucking missing piece.
Yeah.
If you look at this offense, we got everything else is set.
Real quick,
you're missing that true number one, and nothing against CeeDee Lamb. I love CeeDee Lamb. I will go to the bat for CeeDee Lamb, but he's not ready to be a number one just yet. And they were pushing that narrative too early.
I got a plan for you guys, and hear me out here. And I think I know you guys are going to think what I'm thinking here. I think you throw a pick at DJ Moore. Here's why, okay? Because people are looking at the contract, but hear me out, right? When you look at his contract, okay, he's under contract for this year. Then he's a $25 million cap hit next year. Oh, whoa, space. That's so much. Here's the kicker. He has an out in 2024. That's when Lamb's about to get his contract, right? So if you think about it in the long term, right? Oh, well, we got to worry about paying Lamb in the future. Well, let's think of it this way. If you don't want DJ Moore down the road and you want your offense to be the best it can be or have options there, go get DJ Moore. You have him for 2 seasons, and then if you feel like you want to keep him, okay. If you feel like he's trash and you want to pay Lamb because Lamb's better, then you could pay Lamb. I think it's a good plan when you look at the now and then, and it's not going to impact your wide receiving. Well, it will because of Gallup and all that other shit.
You can also get him to Gallup as well because he has a
right.
team. Yeah,
exactly. And that's another key point there as well. And I'm glad you brought that up because it shows you this. It's not set in stone. Like, yes, Gallup has that big contract, but there's options there so we could take him out. It's, again, like I agree with ET Blue, you should not have gotten rid of Amari Cooper. I'm mad as fuck the way they did it. You gave him up for a bag of fucking Doritos and stale ones at that because, oh, by the way, the guy that you gave him up for is fucking done for the season. Like, get the hell out of here. Like, but again, that's what you're missing. You're missing, I think, a stud. But then again, like if you're running the ball and you don't need a much from the passing attack, that's cool.
Right.
But I want to see this team kick the shit out of teams. Like I really do.
Yeah, that's not who they want to be. That's not who Kellen Moore wants to be. They want to be this air attack. They want to air things out. So I'm at the point like, man, go load the clip. Just go load. And I feel like that's the frustrating part coming off of last year into the offseason. It's like, yo, we had a good team already in place. Let's just build off of it. And you see what the Cowboys have. You see what the entire NFC conference looks like. Why not just say, you know what? F it. We're going to go for it and go get you a DJ Moore or go get you a Tyler Lockett. Just go get you one of those guys where everyone's to sit back and say, okay, the Cowboys are for real. But, this is hot air right now because we know damn well they can't do it.
And you said it, Tuck. Like these, I mean, like, come on now. You want to be an aerial tech, but you got rid of the one piece that
Right.
helps you get to that.
Right.
Because again, it's about pieces. It's not just about one person. It's about matching your pieces. You have to match your wide receivers to the way that your quarterback throws the fucking ball, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So the type of quarterback that Dak is, he's gonna need somebody that's a great route runner like Amari Cooper. So you need to go get somebody like that. Now I know, Space, you mentioned DJ Moore. I like DJ Moore, but the problem is Carolina not giving him up, and they already said that.
Yeah.
So that one that's a no go.
Doesn't
What
mean
about
you can't
Denzel
try.
Mims? I mean,
And do your due diligence, right?
Well, the problem is, and this is a big thing, is I love Mims. I love him. The problem is,
and they're not using him.
Here's the problem. Stephen Jones and Joe Douglas hate each other. No deal will be done with the Jets. And that pisses me off because you could go get Elijah Moore. You can go get Denzel Mims. I felt like you could have gotten him earlier, and you could still get him for cheap, right? And that's kind of the thing that bugs me. And you know what's sad about all this? We haven't even mentioned Jalen Tolbert in the conversation, right? And the reason why I think that's important here is because, okay, you spent a day 2 pick on him. And again, he's a rookie. I'm not like losing my shit over it right now. But my problem is that you were kind of, and I know the Joneses are trying to cover this shit up and be like, oh, we weren't. No, you were expecting this dude to come in and replace Amari Cooper.
Right.
And I know, and yeah, that ain't happening. So
come on now.
I would rather, you got to look at your resources and you got to say to yourself, okay, do I want to go get a Mims or, I would love to do that. Do you want to, as much as I freaking hate this dude, I'd like, do you want to look at Chase Claypool or do you want you got to look at these options, right? That you can say, all right, you know what? I feel like Lamb's my one. And I honestly don't give a shit. Just do what you got to do to win. But I'm worried because I think Michael Gallup's that missing piece, right? I think that if Michael Gallup was playing at the level before the injury,
right?
Yeah, I think we would be like, we're good. But until we see that, I'm like, okay, well, do you want to go get OBJ? I say no because I don't trust the guy having two ACL tears,
right?
And it's just I'm like, but.
Yeah. He's gonna tear something else again.
I just don't think they're gonna make a move on wide receiver because it's gonna be egg on their face. They're too prideful. They're
yes.
And then for Michael Gallup, this was the first game with Dak having Michael Gallup back, so I think there's still that rapport that needs to come back. You know what I mean? So I'm not worried about that really. I think that's gonna come in these next couple of games.
Yeah.
So I just don't see them doing that. Since we're doing hypotheticals, if I were to trade for somebody, it would be someone in the trenches. Give me a freaking left guard once and for all, or get me a defensive tackle once and for all. Gallimore inactive. Is it the arm? Is he hurt? What is it?
So let's go with it like you said, Joe. Let's go with it like you said, Joe. And you and I, Mo, no, they're not gonna go get nobody. And this is the thing. But you talk about Jalen Tolbert, right? You drafted Jalen Tolbert. This is the biggest thing. And me and DMV have talked about this shit all the time. Like, if especially with young receivers, right? It's a confidence thing. Mm-hmm. If their confidence is never going to get better if you don't allow them to get out there and do the job.
Exactly.
So put them out there. Again, you got James Washington coming back more than likely after the bye, right? So you get both of these guys in there, and especially now, put Tolbert out there. Dak is back. Dak knows how to throw to Tolbert.
Right.
Get him on some. You could do an end around with him or something.
Right.
Get his confidence up. Get him on an 8-yard end around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just do it, just for heaven's sakes. Just for the guy to get a little bit of confidence. Like, oh yeah, I got a first down. I can do more. That's how it works. You got to get them out there. That's why Hendershot and Ferguson have confidence now, because in preseason they were balling. They were out there doing it. You're not letting Tolbert do anything.
And here's what I try to tell people about when it comes to Tolbert, because people kind of mark me as like the face of the Tolbert fan club, which I was a huge fan of him coming, in the draft. But Yeah, he hasn't got any reps in the game with Dak Prescott. All preseason, it was DiNucci and Cooper Rush, and then so. Yeah, I agree with you, bro. Like, you got to get him involved and get the confidence up. Just a quick throw, quick slant, get to see what he can do. But they're kind of just sitting him on the shelves and kind of saying, well, he was limited and didn't get special teams opportunity. Forget all that. Like, I don't care about special teams. He's your 3rd round pick. Either he needs to get opportunity or Simi Fioco, like somebody. If it's Dennis Houston, you want to go back to that? Like,
oh Jesus,
somebody has to work out, bro. But I feel like with the
Big
Cowboys,
Houston,
they have CeeDee Lamb, and they're throwing a whole bunch of other stuff at the wall and just hoping someone sticks. Like, that's what they're doing right now. And right now, everything is sliding off the wall.
I'm gonna be real with you. I think that, like, as much as I appreciate what Noah Brown's, and he's like, it's kind of hard to be like, oh, I try to pull him off the field. But my thing is, this is my core belief, right? You kind of go, obviously go, there's a part of it where you go with the hot hand, but another part of it is some of these positions you got to look at long term, right? Like, if you're not going to stick with Noah Brown long term and you feel like you're going to get a guy in Jalen Tolbert that has a higher ceiling than Noah Brown, which I firmly believe so. And I saw, like, in the preseason, there were moments where I felt Tolbert can shine. It's just, you have to go with that because like you said, J Tuck, and I agree with you, you need these guys out there to get experience in how to deal with certain coverages, knowing how to deal with with your quarterback throwing the ball a certain way. And they're not going to learn anything on the bench. What, you're going to redshirt him the first year, right? And then you already wasted the first year of his rookie contract because you're like, I don't need that. Because I just don't know, man. I really would love to see Tolbert out there. I think, and I don't get mad at the fact that I think, like when I have said in my, like, oh, I don't know what they're doing here. I feel like even if they took someone else, I think they would have done the same approach, and it still pisses me off. Like,
and this why it kind of goes into my Cowboys don't draft as well as people want to give them credit for. Because think about this: if Tyron Smith doesn't get hurt, Matt Walesko doesn't get hurt, we probably don't see Tyler Smith this year. So it took 2 injuries because they were going to start Connor McGovern.
You're right about that.
Now we're at Sam Williams. Sam Williams is still getting 12 reps a game, but even though he's showing flashes, still getting 12 reps. You have Jalen Tolbert, who was inactive. You have Damone Clark, who's might not be inactive. And then you got lucky with Jake Ferguson. So when you look at this draft, like just from this standpoint, it was more about the future. That's what I kind of said coming after the draft. Like, bro, this is all about future picks down the road, but how does this help us this year? And we kind of got lucky. Hey, they tossed Tyler Smith out there with 12 reps or 12 days before.
He only has 12 reps.
He gets like 12 days to prepare for Tampa. Like they set them all off season. So, it's frustrating because there was so much opportunity to get guys that can help us now. And it's not really Jalen Tolbert's fault because it's just like he is who he is. He was never a punt returner. Like, I live here in Kansas City. I see what they're doing to Sky Moore. Forcing this kid to return punts. That's not what he does.
Yeah. Real quick, I had to ask you guys this question. Chicago's upcoming. Okay. And I think we kind of understand the assignment with Chicago again. I mean, for me, I think, again, listen, I don't know what the fuck is up with Chicago sometimes, but them and Detroit always give us these weird ass fits. I don't know why, but I mean, what do you think is the expectation for Chicago? Is it like, okay, we need to see Dak do a little bit more in the passing attack, or is it like, let's just keep doing like what is the vibe going into Chicago before the bye week?
Go ahead, Joe.
I think Justin Fields is scared out of his mind. There was there was a primetime game here recently where he just looked like he was gonna die on the field. I forgot who they were playing, but man, they were after his butt the whole game, and he looked terrified.
Washington.
Bro. Was it Washington?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I mean, can you imagine how he's gonna feel? I think we're just gonna be too much for him, bro. I think
he's gonna cry. He's gonna cry, dude.
He's gonna cry.
He's gonna have the game of his life right now because I took the under him throwing over 180 yards. So he's probably
Joe, you in Chicago?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh shit. No, but here's what I will say. I think that you need if you want to do these, and I said it in my latest video, I'm not a fan of experimentation during the regular season because it pisses me off. These games are so goddamn important. But it's early enough still to be like, okay, if you want to do Sam Will, because you're seeing it. It's not like, okay, we're just trying this for the sake of trying it. Okay, you see Sam Williams doing what he's doing. Maybe we could try Mike at linebacker more, whatever the case may be. Oh, what's that? You want to try passing the ball more, which again, I don't want to do that. I just want to do what works. I don't care if Dak throws the ball only 20 times a game because look, I don't care at this point what the statistics say. All I care about is win. I mean, even Dak said, he's like, listen, I don't give a damn if I didn't throw a touchdown this game. All I care about is we win. And that's what's important. Because I don't know what right. And I don't understand. It's like you can't get mad at Dak not having a certain stat line if he's only throwing it for a certain amount and you watch the game and you're like, okay, well, we're not doing anything crazy offensively. And then it's like, oh, well, we won the game, but he played. I'm like, honestly, listen, I could give a shit less with a stat line. No one cares. No one cares. We won the game. But I think with Chicago,
they were loving that weeks ago, throwing for 6 yards and win the game. It was,
I will say this is important for Chicago, and I'll say this. Kellen Moore needs to hunker down this offense because you have 2 big games upcoming after and I don't like looking ahead. But honestly, even if you lose this game, even if you lose this game, it doesn't matter. I need to see a tune-up with this offense.
You bet not losing no motherfucking Bears.
Listen, the NFL is weird. I said this. I predicted the Cowboys lose either the Lions or the Bears because I know the NFL is the freakiest fucking shit ever. I mean, for all we know, we could see the Steelers whoop the shit out of the Eagles, which I don't think is going to happen. But again, I want to just reassure Cowboys fans as my final thing here. I'm not sure how much longer we're going to go. You're right there. You are literally right there neck and neck with your other division opponents. Keep winning. Keep stacking those W's because at the end of the day, it takes one slip up from one of these other teams and we're having a whole different other conversation about how this NFC looks like.
And especially NFC games. You got to win those.
Absolutely. You got the tiebreaker over the Rams. You need to get those tiebreakers over Minnesota and Green Bay.
Mm-hmm. I think it's good from the standpoint that the Giants are playing well. Because if the Giants were who a lot of people thought they were, and they're 1-5, Cowboys would probably took their foot off the pedal a little bit. But now
go ahead,
you really got to keep it a go because you still got to catch Philly, and then you got this little nagging team still right behind you, or actually they're in front of us right now. So they're keeping you honest. So I like what I'm seeing, man, just from the whole division. But yeah, I feel like the Cowboys, looking at the NFC, landscape, if we had to go on the road to play Minnesota, Tampa, whoever, I'm fully confident that we'll be just fine, especially getting some guys back. And I feel like Dak Prescott and this offense, they're going to find it. I feel like that's going to be the scary part. It's going to be one game we're sitting back and be like, okay, boom, there it is. And now it's 42-6. Now it's 42-7 or some stuff like that. So I think damn, Matt Jones got benched. I should have took the under on his throwing yards too.
Man.
Yeah, man. So
can we agree that the best 2 teams in the league right now this year is San Fran and the Chiefs?
I don't know about it anymore because the Chiefs kind of just rolled through them like it was
the
crazy,
2 best teams in the league.
Probably the Bills and the Chiefs.
The Bills.
I don't know, man. This is what's weird, and it's like it feels like the AFC has all the the powerhouses. I mean, really, Philadelphia's I don't want to disrespect Minnesota because I think Minnesota has a nice roster, but they have that allure of okay, you got Kirk Cousins and you're gonna play on primetime in the playoffs. I'm gonna just say, man, there's a window open. You got to just take the opportunity to walk through that window because this has to be the weakest NFC I have ever seen in my entire damn life so far to this point. Now, again, we are still in October, so we can probably see a different thing.
I think the hardest teams right now in the NFC is the Eagles and the 49ers right now.
I think for me, the only way that the Cowboys can change my perspective on them is if the offense gets in gear and the defense stays in tune. Because honest to God, and this isn't no homerism bullshit, if the Cowboys offense is even middle of the pack or above average with Dak, you got yourself a damn good team here. It's just a matter of can you capitalize. Listen, I don't give a shit about winning the division.
You got to play more physical.
I personally think I would rather just go on the road because for some reason at AT&T we don't have a home field advantage.
It's not a playoff.
I personally would rather just be a wild card team.
Yeah.
So
Hey fellas, man, I gotta end this show, bro. I've been trying
No
to check
worries.
it out, man. I just got sick out of nowhere, fellas. I appreciate y'all
all right,
toughing
it's
it
all
out,
good.
taking the conversation. But yeah, maybe I'll pick it up sometime this week.
You've been looking at the
Appreciate y'all
Eagles
stopping
clips,
by.
man.
I don't know what it is. But yeah, man, appreciate y'all stopping by, man. Let everybody know where they can find y'all on YouTube and in all your platforms.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, you guys can find me on YouTube. Just look up Cowboys Blog, and I'll pop up there. On Twitter, it's Cowboys Blog Net, and hit me up, man. Let's talk some football.
Your boy E2 Blue, man. Channel E2 Blue Entertainment, man. Just check me out. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, you guys can find me on all social media platforms at jtuck151. My YouTube channel is CFO Sports. And you can go to cfosportstalk.com to get your CFO merch, man. Appreciate you, my
Yes,
guys.
sir.
Yeah, and you guys can follow me over at Space Cowboy Media or at Twitter or on Twitter at Space Cowboy MED. Do your due diligence, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe to all of our channels and like the stream here and everything like that. Thank you so much, DMV, for having us. We greatly appreciate it.
And stop listening to these talking heads, y'all.
And stop listening to these fucking Eagles fans. You guys just want a fucking pennant. Shut the fuck up. No, I'm just kidding.
right.
All right, peace, y'all.
All right,
All right,
y'all.
Joe.
Appreciate
Bye.
y'all. Thanks.
Later, guys.
It was great, man.
Yeah.